ഞാനിന്ന് ഒരു OSM ആക്ടിവിസ്റ്റോ വളണ്ടിയറോ എന്നുള്ള നിലയിലല്ല സംസാരിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ ഐ എം OSM പ്രോ. ഐ എം എ ഓപ്പൺ ഡാറ്റ പ്രോ സയൻറ്റിസ്റ്റ്. ഐ എം വർക്കിംഗ് ഇൻ ഗവൺമെൻറ്. സോ അതിൻ്റേതായ ലിമിറ്റേഷൻസ് എനിക്കുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഐ എം വർക്കിംഗ് ഇൻ Kerala State Remote Sensing and Environment Center. Kerala State Remote Sensing and Environment Center is a mapping agency. We are the primary geospatial data building agency of the state for planning and decision making support. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന അധികം പേരും യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സാണ്. യു ആർ വെരി യങ് കമ്പയർഡ് ടു മീ. I started mapping in 91. That means it's around 32, 33 years. I've been doing this in geospatial area. So we had been mapping basically from remote sensing data. Remote sensing data consists of various levels, as you all know. Now it's the age of drones. Drone level where we map still we get 5 centimeter resolution data. എല്ലാവർക്കും റെസൊല്യൂഷൻ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ മനസ്സിലാവുമെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ 5 centimeter or 2 centimeter 3 centimeter റെസൊല്യൂഷൻ ഡാറ്റ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കൂടെ we can map a lot of things. But when you go for a decision support or a decision making, when you stand before a decision maker, the questions they ask will create problems for us. കാരണം നമ്മൾ as a data generating agency, we have got a lot of data from 1:50,000 scale, 1:25,000 scale, 1:10,000 scale, 1:5,000 scale. We have got plenty of information in all these scales of information developed from remote sensing, basically from satellite data, LIDAR data, radar data, all kind of satellite on drone based informations. Up to 2 centimeter, 5 centimeter level information is available. So all these things can give you maps. നമ്മൾ പറയുന്ന OSM പോലെയുള്ള we can generate maps in all scales. നമ്മളൊരു ഡിസിഷൻ മേക്കറുടെ മുമ്പിൽ നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ, സപ്പോസ് in the case of a flood or a landslide or any eventuality that happens, when you need a sudden reaction on data for decision making, they will always very granular information. ഗ്രാനുലാർ എന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വീടുകൾ മാപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും. വീടുകൾ വരെ, ബിൽഡിങ്സ് വരെ മാപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും. OSMൽ വി ഹാവ് ഗോട്ട് മാപ്സ് ബിൽഡിംഗ് ലെവൽ. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വീടുകൾ വരെ മാപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും. നമുക്ക് വളരെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മാപ്സ് വി ക്യാൻ ജനറേറ്റ്. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ പലരും ഇവിടെ കാണിച്ച പോലെ കനാലിൻ്റെ സൈഡിലെ ഹൗസ് ഹോൾഡ്സ്, ഓൾ ദീസ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസ് ക്യാൻ ബി മാപ്ഡ്. But when we go to a decision maker, when they ask, we can map floods, flood inundated area, which are the buildings that got under floods. ഇതെല്ലാം നമ്മൾ ഇൻഫോം ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴും the first thing they will be asking is how many people lives inside, whether this building is a homestead or whether this building is a commercial building. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ചോദ്യങ്ങളാണ് വരിക. എത്ര പേര് ഇവിടെ താമസിക്കുന്നു, അതിലെത്ര കുട്ടികൾ, എത്ര സ്ത്രീകൾ, എത്ര പുരുഷന്മാർ, എത്ര വയസ്സായവർ, എത്ര ഡിസേബിൾഡ്. All these questions comes, which cannot be answered by remote sensing or geospatial mapping. So that's where I stand. അവിടെയാണ് നമ്മൾ my today's presentation comes. So all this information, background information we have, and to support, especially when that flood and all other things came, all these questions came. How many, which are the areas we can give, but all these informations of people belonging to it and the people who are in trouble, all these things cannot be given. So we started thinking of participatory mapping. So that's where OSM stands. നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേഷൻ്റെ ആൾക്കാരാണ് അല്ലേ? So participatory mapping can only bring this granular information. So our granular information, next slide, so comes from this participatory mapping, And this participatory thing, we have brought in an application called Gramam. It's all open database developed applications, or open software based applications. It's not proprietary, but it's not publicly available also. That's another story. Because that's what I was telling. I am in a government, and from the government side we have got some limitations. So next slide. We have developed an application called Grassroots Level Mapping and Monitoring System. So it's a mobile application which can map anything and everything on the Earth's surface. So that's where that application can bring in information at the very grassroots level, and we call it Gramam. Next. And this is the dashboard where you will have more than 20 sub apps within that individual app, where we can map the socio-economic aspects of the. If you enter a building, I will just tell, because the time is very less. I will tell that if you are entering a building or a plot, you can map the boundary of the plot, and you can map the land use of the plot. You can map the building boundary. You can take the socio-economic survey of that building. You can take the agricultural activities. You can take the animal husbandry activities. You can map the wells. It's all different apps within that Gramam application. So if you come out of that building or the plot, you can map the roads. You can map open street map. You are basically a street people. You can map roads. You can map all the utilities, electric posts, electric lines, water supply lines, telephone posts. All the public assets can be mapped, and you can map the challenges in the sense man-made challenges and natural challenges like landslides, flood-prone areas, landslide-prone areas, and your pollution areas, robbery, accidents, all kind of challenges can be mapped. And you can map all other things, recreational areas, rivers, streams, water bodies, wells, land survey, land plot boundaries, all these things. Since there is no time, I'm not going deep into it. So I will show some slides. It can be shown in real time also, but let it be in slides now. Next. So you can see individually, you can see that socio-economic and asset survey has been done with the help of 5,454 volunteers. There have been a lot of volunteers are mapping. Our concept is basically we train volunteers, and each ward we find 5 volunteers from Panchayat. So Panchayat will have at least 100 volunteers for that, which they will have to identify the volunteers. We will map, we will train them, and they will map. And things have been initiated and things have been moving. And many of you might have heard of this buffer zone issue. Buffer zone? Nobody has heard of it? Yeah, it was a very hot issue, and it was a good learning process. നമുക്കൊരു ആവശ്യമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഇപ്പോൾ വളണ്ടിയേഴ്സിന് ആവാനും വളണ്ടിയേഴ്സിനെ കിട്ടാനും ഫണ്ടിന് വേണ്ടിയൊക്കെ ഒരുപാട് വിഷമിക്കുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയാം. Because we also have that trouble of fund and getting volunteers, and whatever I am telling is not an easy task. അപ്പോൾ അത് ഈ കേസിൽ ഈ ബഫർ സോണിൻ്റെ കേസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മുടെ വൈൽഡ് ലൈഫ് സാങ്ച്വറീസിന് ചുറ്റും താമസിക്കുന്ന 1 കിലോമീറ്റർ ഏരിയയ്ക്കകത്തുള്ളവരെ ബഫർ സോൺ ആക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ റൂള് വന്നപ്പോൾ, സുപ്രീം കോർട്ട് ഓർഡർ വന്നപ്പോൾ എവരിബഡി വാസ് അണ്ടർ പാനിക്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് നോർമലി നമ്മൾ ഈ ആപ്പിൻ്റെ ഒരു ട്രെയിനിങ് കൊടുത്താൽ 10 പ്രാവശ്യം കൊടുത്താലാണ് ദേ വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് എക്യുപ്ഡ്. നോർമലി എനി ആപ്പ് they will have a lot of doubts. Even for a login, they have got a lot of doubts, and to make them work is very difficult. പക്ഷെ നമുക്ക് ആവശ്യമുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ മൊബൈലിൽ നമ്മൾ എത്ര ആപ്പ് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണെങ്കിലും നമ്മളൊരു വളണ്ടറി ആക്ടിവിറ്റിക്ക് പോകുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് 1000 സംശയങ്ങളാണ്. നമ്മുടെ സ്വന്തം ആവശ്യങ്ങളാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കൊരു സംശയവുമില്ല. That is a natural process. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ബഫർ സോണിൻ്റെ കേസിൽ വന്നപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്തത് 400 പേരെയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ പക്ഷേ the mapping was done by 5,000 people. Because it was their need to plot their house and location so that they should know whether they are inside or outside the buffer area. അപ്പോൾ അവനവൻ്റെ ആവശ്യം വരുന്നത് there is no need of training. They will get things done. And അതാണ് ആ നീഡ്. We will have to build that need. ഫസ്റ്റ് ആ ഒരു നീഡ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളത് ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് പ്രോസസ്. ആ നീഡ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്താൽ we can map all these things. And we can even map the waste estimate there was an estimate how much waste is generated each household. And I will show some examples also next. This is the survey dashboard that comes out of individual application, socio-economic survey. We will have that information. It's a 30-page survey in an app with socio-economic survey is around 30 pages of information coming in one app within the Gramam application, and the households will be plotted like this and the dashboard will be looking like this. Next. And you can that plot, individual plot, we can give the boundaries and a lot of applications within this plot itself, and land use and all other aspects can be brought in from this survey. Next. And the assets and land use can be mapped like this. It comes. And you can have information on the assets, all the entire, the main aim of this program or the app is to bring entire granular information of Kerala into a digital platform or a geospatial platform so that no questions left unanswered by the decision makers or the government. So next. So this is another application called well log, where you can map the wells, all the entire water abstraction structures of the surface, including ponds. Somebody was mapping ponds. So all these water abstraction structures will be mapped with the help of this application called well log, where you will be able to, one example of the results that can be achieved from the mapping is that you will be able to identify the amount of water that is pumped from the groundwater or from the wells per day. So the real estimate of water that can be pumped per day can be done with the help of this kind of survey. And it is now 2,272 volunteers have been mapping, and they have mapped around 7.5 lakhs of wells. This application individually has been taken by Groundwater Department of Kerala, and they are mapping it with the World Bank funded project. So there will be mapping around 75 lakhs expected wells of Kerala, which will be a huge information. Around 75 parameters of individual wells have been mapped in this individual app. So that gives a huge information about the groundwater or the surface water, including surface water ecosystem, its quality, quantity, availability, individual. It can also show you the number of wells that is being dried per month. So January, if a LSG department wants to know which are the wells getting dried so that they can plan their water supply areas, and we can plan the recharge locations exactly. It can be an evidence-based decision support. So next, that's an example of the wells have been mapped. You will be getting a lot of information, including the photo, address, all these locations, and this kind of outputs will come, and it gives you a lot of information which helps the decision support in the government level, planning and management. All the നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ മഴക്കുഴി കുത്തിയവരാണല്ലോ അല്ലേ, നമ്മൾ കേരളം മുഴുവൻ മഴക്കുഴി കുത്തിയവരാ. പക്ഷേ എവിടെയാണ് മഴക്കുഴി കുത്തേണ്ടത് എന്നുള്ളതിന് we don't have a real estimate or a model estimate എന്നും കൂടി പറയാനില്ല. We just went on digging മഴക്കുഴീസ്. അതാണ് നമ്മളുണ്ടായത്. So recharge where it should be done എന്നുള്ള ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ this kind of information can give. Next. At stadiums, playgrounds, sports availabilities, all these things can also be mapped Next. So these are the sports platform where all these sports informations is available, gyms, a lot of information related to sports is tagged. I've just shown some examples of Panchayat stadiums. These are the stadiums that is available. Next. So water utilities, water authority, all their assets can be mapped, which has been mapped in many ways, and along with this application, and power and energy, KSEB, telecommunication, all these things can be mapped with the help of individual apps within that Gramam application. Next. And this is an example of water supply schemes that has been mapped. It's an Yatingara municipality area where the type of pipes, which are the diameter-wise pipes, all these informations can be analyzed, and their supply areas, where the valves are existing, from which valve, which direction the water flows, all these things can be assessed from the dashboards. Next. Transportation, again, it's a road mapping. Road mapping for Kerala. All the roads have been mapped with the help of volunteers, paid volunteers, basically, because this has been taken up by the LSGD department. We have got an application called R-Track, road tracking. So it has been taken up by the LSGD department, and each panchayat with their LSGD engineers as coordinating will be training the engineers, and the engineers have coordinated, and around 5,000 volunteers have been mapping, and it's almost 95% completed. Mapping has been completed 95%, and verification and further stages is going on. And based on this road length, they will be getting the plan budget from next year. Only they can't give plan funds with their own estimates. They will get plan funds from these maps outputs. Culvert, bridges, drainages, protection walls, all these things can be mapped. Next. And this is an example of that mapping. It's an old slide. Presently, they have completed most of that area. And it's a part of Trivandrum. You can see almost 28,389 survey has been completed when that slide was made. It's not a recent one. And 8,000 kilometers of roads have been made. And number of volunteers in Trivandrum was 510 that time. And you can have all these dashboards, types of surface, road type, road category, road information, road length, width, road carriageway, and you can have queries. Okay, I'll just go fast. You can have queries on all these informations, and it's a decision support tool, they can identify which are the untarred roads available, and which are the untarred roads with greater than 5 meter width for next year's planning. So they will be tagging, we will be giving the chainages for these roads, and in each chainage will be linked to their activities after the mapping and verification process is done. So it will be linked to the verification, linked to their day-to-day activities. So all the maintenance activities, who is doing the maintenance, when the tarring is done, when the retarring is going to be done, all these things will be linked, and it will be a evidence-based decision support for the LSGD engineering wing. Next. Challenge mapper, as I have told, we can map all the man-made and natural challenges, pollution, crime, diseases, social, man-made things, flood, landslides, around 7 to 9 natural challenges, and around 12 man-made challenges can be mapped with the help of a challenge mapper. And the damages that happened after the challenge, especially in the case of flood and landslides, can also be mapped. Next. And this is an example of flood damage that has been happened, and you can even see the level of floods. That change in color of the building can show us the amount of water that has risen in that area, so that all these data that with visual evidence, government can give support to the people. The damage, death of man, death of animal, the loss of agriculture, all these things can be mapped. Next. Electoral survey, all the electoral booths, their catchment area, all these things can be mapped, population and area of interest. If all these things, you will find some specific locations on the state. നമുക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും സ്പെസിഫിക് ആ ലൊക്കേഷനിൽ മാത്രമേ അത് ഉണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ. ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് എ കോമൺ തിങ്. something like geographic indicator. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ കുന്നംകുളം ഭാഗത്തൊക്കെ you will find some Kodakkalli, something like that. So that's not found in all areas. So such kind of things can be mapped with the help of area of interest. And if all these things doesn't support you, you can enter things and upload. So that's others. You will have an application to enter your own interest in that things. Next. So all these data in different platforms will come to a common platform called Kerala GIS, which is a decision support platform where you can see, next, I'll just go fast, and you can see the maps generated out of all these application, which is granular and non-granular. So in multiple scales where you can dig down, government can take decisions. An example of Trivandrum districts, you can see the land use map, next. And lithology, that means the rocks, പാറകളുടെ വിന്യാസം, next. Geomorphology, how the surface of the earth looks like, next. And it's a query result from that map. It's a spatial query. You can done individual things can be overlaid and you can do analysis out of it, next. And this is a relief, how the height varies, next. And these are the building footprints that I was telling. You can mark the boundaries of buildings. So the entire buildings, number of buildings can be assessed, but the only question that we can't answer was the number of people living inside it. So Google and other guys has got different modes of business models to collect the number of people, collect your address through our interest and taste. They give you service and get data, isn't it? So they've got different business models, but നമ്മൾ ഗവൺമെൻറ് ആയതുകൊണ്ട് we can't do such kind of models. As they will give you service in the like Zomato and identify the number of people in the house. To get information in Zomato, we give our address and all other things to them. So household address, all these address geocoding is what he was asking. Satyan sir was asking address geocoding. If you have an address geocoded database, he can just tell Satyamaster Veede, the map will show him. Just turn right, go left and goes out. So that address geocoding is the first thing that need to be done in OSM. So we are also trying to do that address geocoding for the entire Kerala. So household level, once this is there, but we need to put in the address, number of people living, age group, work, all the ethnicities, all these things should be done, go into this to make a perfect decision support system. Next. And that's the road networks that has been mapped in the thing that has been brought in, next. Building footprints again, I think no, it's a repeat slide. And it's a zoomed version of that building footprints that comes out, next. Schools and all these things can be separated, next. Watershed, somebody was telling about watershed. These are watershed boundaries up to micro water level. Entire Kerala, this kind of data is available, next. This is the cadastral data. Cadastral data എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ plot boundaries. That plot boundaries, next. It's a zoomed version where you have the plot numbers, survey numbers, and which survey number, which are the building, and who is people living inside. All this information we need to give a better decision support. Next. KWA pipelines, valves, tanks. Next. Banks. Next. School grounds, next. Post office, next. And it's a combination of all assets. All the assets, most of the assets has been mapped. I'm not going, diary officers, ATMs, government hospital, private hospital, schools, all these things our life. Because I don't have time, that's why I've just put everything together and chose. Next, I think it's okay. I'm on time.
Thank you so much, sir. Is there any questions?
സർ, അപ്പോൾ ഇതെല്ലാം ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ് അല്ലല്ലോ, പബ്ലിക്കിന് അവൈലബിൾ അല്ലല്ലോ ഇതെല്ലാം. അപ്പോൾ സർ, ഒരു കാര്യം അറിയണത്, ഇപ്പോൾ പലതരത്തിലുള്ള ഇപ്പോൾ ഡേറ്റ നമുക്ക് റിസർച്ച് പേർപ്പസസിനൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഡേറ്റ ആക്സസ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ അതിലൊരു പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഇപ്പോൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫ്യൂച്ചറിൽ എങ്ങാനും ഉണ്ടോ?
There is always a possibility. Now you can purchase, we are selling information.
Right.
That's where things stands. നമ്മളൊരു present problem എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ it's all rated. You get information with money.
Okay.
So we are trying to push things in open platform. So we have got Kerala has got a KSDI platform, Kerala Spatial Data Infrastructure Platform, through which most of the data, some of the data is given free. So we are now taking over the KSDI project. So that's the process is ongoing. Once that thing comes, we are trying to give things in free. We have given proposal to government, but there should be policy decisions on the top.
Right.
We don't want to keep things with us alone. We want to give it for the public. So that's why we are trying to get this granular, but there are always some data that has got some problems, or we need to have some classified information because of the government needs and public panic and all other things we should avoid. So such kind of data you won't get. But others, we are trying to get it put in a public platform, and even in this decision support system, we are trying to build 2 phases, where open and credential-based links can be put in. So that we are trying, things will come. May take a bit of time.
Okay, one more question, sir. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഉള്ളത് കുറേ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസിൽ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമാണല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ ഓരോ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസും ഒത്തുചേർന്നിട്ടുള്ളൊരു എക്സസൈസാണിത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ ഡ്യൂപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൾട്ടിപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ഓഫ് എഫേർട്സ് വരാൻ ചാൻസ് ഉണ്ടോ? ഇപ്പോൾ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ ഇൻവെൻട്രൈസേഷൻ ഓഫ് വാട്ടർ ബോഡീസ് എന്നുള്ളത് നേരത്തെ നമ്മുടെ സുപ്രീം കോർട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ചീഫ് സെക്രട്ടറി ലെവലിൽ അത് ചെയ്യിക്കണം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു പരിപാടിയായിരുന്നു. ഓക്കെ, ദേ ആർ യൂസിങ് യുവർ ഡേറ്റ. ഓക്കെ. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ അപ്പോൾ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ ലിങ്കേജസും ഓൾറെഡി എസ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ്ഡ് ആണ്.
Already there, but there are duplications. It will be there because people work on their needs. They want, and we are now trying to popularize this KSDI, so that all the data of the government will be channelized into this window.
Okay.
Kerala Spatial Data Infrastructure. So whoever wants data can look into that window. So all the department data will come there.
Okay.
So that is the idea, and that window will show you this data is available in this department, and this data is priced. This data is free.
Okay.
All these things will be there in that window. So we are trying to popularize that. We are trying to take over and popularize that. Takeover process is on. Once that takeover is complete, you don't need to go in different departments' website or other things. You just go inside KSDI, see what are the data, spatial data, geospatial data available, and which are costly and which are free, which are open. All these things can be seen there.
And the state, as in LSDIs and municipalities, they can access the data. They can.
We are giving credentials to individual LSGs. This road network mapping, they already have the credentials.
സാർ, ഈ ഓപ്പൺ ഡേറ്റ ആക്കാൻ ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥരുടെ ഇടയിലാണോ ലിമിറ്റേഷൻസ്, അതേ സർക്കാരിന് ഓപ്പൺ ഡേറ്റ പോളിസീസ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടും സർക്കാരിനാണോ അത് ഒരു ലിമിറ്റേഷൻസ്?
No, most of the data, especially in our case, we are an autonomous body under government. So government will ask us to sustain by your activities. So data is a big area where we collect money. So a lot of requirement is there from data. I think monthly itself we earn in lakhs. So if government is giving us funds, only we can give this data free, because the sustainability is a problem somewhere. So that decision will get pending.
ഓക്കെ. അപ്പോൾ ഓപ്പൺ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് മാപ്പ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ബാക്കി കമ്പനികളെ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഓപ്പൺ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് മാപ്പ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന കമ്പനികൾ അവർ തിരിച്ച് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് ഓപ്പൺ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് മാപ്പിലേക്ക്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഫേസ്ബുക്ക് ആയാലും ഓല ആയാലും സൊമാറ്റോ ആയാലും അവർ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി പാർട്ണർഷിപ്പ് ആയാലോ എന്തെങ്കിലും പേയ്മെൻറ്റ് ആയാലോ ഡേറ്റ ആയിട്ടോ അവർ പേയ്മെൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ സാറൊക്കെ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമുകൾ ഇപ്പോൾ സാറ് തന്നെ കാണിച്ചു, ഇതൊരു തരം ഓപ്പൺ വാഷിംഗ് അല്ലേ, ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റുമോ?
ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞില്ലല്ലോ.
അപ്പോൾ അതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ KSDI എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ, KSDIയുടെ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, KSDIയുടെ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ പലതും PDF-ഉം അങ്ങനെയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കത് JSON ആയിട്ടോ GeoJSON ആയിട്ടോ KML ആവാതെയോ കിട്ടിയിട്ട് അല്ലാതെ കാര്യമില്ലല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ വെറുതെ PDF ആയിട്ട്.
KSDI is not with us. We are planning to take up KSDI.
Okay.
The process is on. Once it is there, and this policy of which should be given free, which should be kept under classified category, it should be, once it is finalized, things can be brought in.
സാർ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ കൂടെ, ഈ ഓപ്പൺ ഡാറ്റയായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ പബ്ലിക്കിൻ്റെ മണി ഉപയോഗിച്ചാണല്ലോ ഈ സാധനം നിർമ്മിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പബ്ലിക് കോഡ് ഇപ്പോൾ പബ്ലിക് ഗുഡ് ആണല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഇതിൽ എന്താണ് ഇത് പബ്ലിസൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ, ഇപ്പോൾ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി റീസൺസ് ഉപയോഗിച്ച് ഗ്രാനുലർ ഡാറ്റ ഒഴിവാക്കിയാലും ബാക്കിയുള്ള ഡാറ്റ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യാമല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു
That's what we have given proposals to government.
Okay.
Only things, decisions are pending.